Good afternoon and welcome to today's webinar, North Carolina's Peer Support Program, Community Resilience Through Crisis. Before we get started, here are a few reminders about the webinar technology. Please make sure that you are using a computer or smartphone connected to the internet and that the audio function is on and the volume is turned up. Please be sure your microphone is muted for the duration of the call. Questions can be submitted anytime during the presentation using the Q&A feature located on your control panel. We will answer as many questions as time allows after the presentation. American Sign Language interpreters and closed captioning options are available for today's event. The American Sign Language interpreters for today are Danette Steelman-Bridges and Mary Beth Brown. For closed captioning options, select the closed caption feature located on your dashboard. To adjust the video layout and screen view, select the view feature located in the top right-hand corner of your screen and choose the view that works best for you. Today's agenda topics include welcome, introductions, an overview of the NCCPSS program, and a panel discussion. There will also be time for questions after the presentation. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Kelly Crosby, Director of the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services.
Hey everyone, sorry for stressing everyone on the call out for running a bit late. So welcome. I'm really glad you're all here today. As Dina said, my name is Kelly Crosby. Many of you know me, but certainly not all of you. So if you're a first-time visitor, thank you so much for joining us today. I'm the director of this amazing division. We're the Division of Mental Health, Developmental Disabilities, and Substance Use Services. We also support people with traumatic brain injury and problem gambling. So almost celebrating my 3-year anniversary here, but I've been at the department, I was at Medicaid for about 10 years. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I always tell people I'm a mom because I adore being a mom, and I am a person with lived experience. And today we are really celebrating people with lived experience, our certified peers. So super excited about today. I'm going to take just a moment of privilege. I'm going to introduce Jennifer in a moment. You'll know Jennifer as well. But people have heard me in many contexts talk about why peers are important to me. We know the research that shows that peers are powerful, and the way they support people through their recovery to thrive in their lives as they deserve is extraordinary. The research shows it, but many of us also have personal experience. And I personally thank peers for the impact they made on my dad's life and my life. We're going to talk a lot today about Helene recovery. There's so much to be said that can't be said in a 3-minute introduction, which is what I'm trying to stick to. But we have, and next month, side by side, we're actually going to do a kind of a celebration of the strength, resilience, and the amazing people that supported the West, mostly people in the West, right, who supported one another during and in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. So today you're going to hear some of the start of that, and I will tell you that we had here, and the reason I'm telling you, it's for a reason, you'll get it. We had daily stand-ups here because we were trying to do everything from support of all the shelters, making sure there was mental health, substance use support in a lock zone, MOUD, support for people with IDD in all the shelters, but also daily check-ins because we were checking in with our colleagues in the West. And that was everyone from VIA to all of our crisis shelters, to all of our opioid treatment programs, and to all of our group homes, our treatment facilities. And one of the things we were literally doing was just checking that we could account for everyone and account for their needs and making sure we were able to support our partners in the field. And everybody was extraordinary. But one of the groups we received daily check-ins from was actually all of our peer organizations in the West. And it was truly magnificent, because our peer groups were letting us know to the person, for some of the folks that were living in shelters or living in tents, where they were. And it was extraordinary to see the peer community really help each other in extraordinary ways, help the whole community in extraordinary ways, but really take care of one another to the person, making sure people were accounted for and their needs were met. So that was, I'll never forget that. So I'm delighted today to hear from our peer leaders in the West, who were doing what peers do every single day: take care of others while taking care of themselves, which is truly quite extraordinary, and live themselves through a devastating hurricane. So just really appreciative of the speakers here today. Hope you enjoy it. I'm sure that you will. And I'm actually going to turn things over to Jennifer Mead. Most of you know Jennifer. Jennifer is one of those strong, silent, lovely people. If you've ever met Jennifer, you will not forget Jennifer. She won't be like me in front of a crowd. She'll never be that. But she'll be the person going around the room, really connecting with every people. And I love Jennifer's heart. Jennifer has a heart for the community, and that is why she is our Director of Advocacy and Empowerment here at the division. So Jennifer, I am turning it over to you.
Wow, Kelly, I'm blushing over here. Gracious, those were very kind words. Thank you. And thank you for your message, for opening us up. Very powerful words. And I too appreciate all the peer support specialists out there and what they do for the community. So thank you. So as Kelly said, I'm Jennifer Mead. I am the Director of Advocacy and Empowerment here at the division. I have a little over 25-ish years in the field, and I've been with DMH DDSUS for about 3 years. I just hit my 3-year in October, and I'm also a person with lived experience. So next slide, please. So today, before we get to our panel and hear from our special guests, we just wanted to take an opportunity to kind of give you a lay of the land and a very brief update on where we're at with our North Carolina Certified Peer Specialist program. And so, but before I do that, I think it's important to take a moment to thank everybody who made this work possible. We would not be here without you. Over the past 2-ish or so years, we have just received incredible support, input, and guidance from peer support specialists, providers, and all of our partners across the state. The initiatives I'm going to talk about in the next few slides are truly a collaborative effort, and we couldn't have done this without your voices, experience, and dedication. In my opinion, I think this work truly represents what makes our peer community so strong, with collaboration and lived experience leading the way. So thank you. All right, next slide. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is the Foundations of Peer Support new statewide certification course. Many of you may already be somewhat familiar with this from past presentations or from Hot Topics, but we have launched a new statewide certification training designed by and for North Carolina CPSS. It includes a 20-hour online component and a 40-hour in-person or classroom course. And I'll talk about both those more in detail in a minute. But really, the overall goal of developing this curriculum was to ensure a standardized, accessible, and free training that really helps peers to effectively provide recovery support in their communities. Next slide. So as I mentioned, part 1 is the online course, and it launched in August of this year. It has 9 modules, and you'll see them listed there, but they cover worldview and principles of peer support and recovery, as well as highlighting important topics such as self-care, ethics, and cultural responsiveness. Next slide. So this is a screenshot homepage for the course. If you look over there on the right-hand side, you'll see that you can also access this course on a mobile device, phone, iPad, etc. So you don't necessarily have to have a computer or be able to access it on a computer. We just thought that would make the training available for more individuals and also be more flexible in where and how they access the course. So in designing the course, we were very intentional in ensuring that the training offers learner choice through multiple content delivery methods like text, audio, interactive media, and that any individual can participate regardless of technology or background. Next slide, please. Okay, so part 2 is the in-person part of the training. And this just launched last month, and it's a 40-hour classroom experience that actually builds on the foundation course. It includes 13 modules, again, right there on the screen, that include trauma response, crisis intervention, harm reduction, and advocacy. And in the classroom piece, there's a really strong emphasis on practice and community engagement. So the participants will role play, share lived experience, and just have the opportunity to learn from one another. So overall, just kind of summing up this new curriculum, we really just wanted to ensure that peers leave this training feeling equipped, confident, and connected. Next slide, please. So here are some other initiatives we're currently working on. We are partnering with the Division of Health Benefits to update the peer support Medicaid definition. We are developing a LinkedIn resource to assist peers in resume building and job placements. And then we have the Connections app, which is a free peer-to-peer communication platform that allows peers across the state to mentor and support each other. Next slide, please. And then finally, here are some future initiatives we're looking forward to working with you on. We are creating the IDD Intellectual Developmental Disability and TBI Traumatic Brain Injury curriculums to launch hopefully in 2026. We're developing specialty job trainings for crisis, justice involved, and other focus areas. We are looking to launch a peer supervisor training by fall 2026. And we are building out technical assistance offerings for providers, hopefully by April 2026. So I think that's my last slide. I told you it would be brief, but I know we were all really here to see the panel and hear from the wonderful people that are here today to speak. So I'm going to turn it over to Fatina Pfeiffer for our panel discussion.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fatina Pfeiffer, and I work for the division as well on Jennifer Mead's team supporting the community and advocacy. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Program, and I will be your moderator for today. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce our 3 panelists. And so first up, we have William Dykes, who is with the Veteran Services of the Carolina. He serves Asheville and Charlotte. William is also pursuing a degree in Christian ministry and is the proud father of 2 beautiful girls. And then next we have Josh Morrow, who serves as the Recovery Center Coordinator for Sunrise Community and Wellness Recovery, very active in community outreach, is a dedicated advocate for his community using his lived experience. And then last but not least, we have Karen Russell, who is the Director for Hope, Helping Others Preserve Everyday Recovery Center. Karen has over a decade of work experience using lived and learned experience, also devoted to using evidence-based practices and holistic practices to support others. And Karen is also a peer trainer as well as a RAP facilitator. Next slide. So we are going to set the stage with our first question that's going to be open to the panelists. So the first one's going to be, for those of you in the audience who may not be familiar, can each of you briefly describe what being a certified peer support specialist means to you and what a typical day looks like in your role?
Doesn't matter how we start.
It does not. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. One, I want to share that it's helping others persevere every day. And I want to say that because most of my day spent is giving somebody hope and helping them to see that we do overcome as peer support specialists, and that recovery is real. And so my day to day is reminding people of that and continuously reminding myself, because it's one thing about being a peer support is an action word, and so that's how we work in action.
Thank you, Karen.
So being a peer support to me is about inspiring hope and modeling recovery and self-care through my life so that I could be an inspiration to others. A typical day is just always meeting folks where they're at, being there, sharing hope, have a listening ear. We have a really busy recovery center here, so it's just being available to be there for somebody.
Thank you.
To me, it shows the power in stories when we struggled and how we can help lift each other up from the grips of addiction and mental health. We don't have typical days where I work. Every day is like a different adventure, but usually we see participants in our programs fulfilling some of their needs, or we go out to camps bringing them survival needs, food and water, possibly making a new participant in the process.
Thank you so much, Will. How do you typically connect with and support people in your community during normal times before Hurricane Helene?
So for me, I usually just go sit in the mix of the crowd. I'm no different. We are no different. We just go sit down and I say, "How's your day going?" And what can I do to support you? And just basically just have a conversation. And on a normal day, it's just going out, saying hello, what's going on,
Typically, the way of connecting is having a conversation, having a cup of coffee in the center, also going out and doing outreach, going into camps, food banks, just having a conversation, introducing, ask somebody, how are you? And just being available.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. Just being available, and we actually get referrals off of Unitas, which is helpful because we have people reaching out needing help already. A lot of times we also meet people at community partner gatherings, whether it be the church here in Asheville, where all the unhoused eat every Wednesday, or somewhere like Sunrise where Josh works.
Thank you so much. When Hurricane Helene hit, you were not only professionals helping others, but also individuals experiencing the same disaster. How did you balance your own challenges with your role in supporting others?
Just to be honest, in order to balance that, sometimes I had to cry. Sometimes I had to pray. Sometimes I had to pick myself back up just so I can help somebody else get up, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being in the mix of it. It wasn't easy being out there while it was happening, trying to get people out of their camps that were being flooded, watching trees fall down around us. So like I said, a lot of times it's a lot of crying, a lot of praying, but the support that I had with my other peers that were with me, we just had to lift each other up. So.
Absolutely.
It was really hard, especially the first I want to say 3 or 4 days because we were trapped in, like we could not get out to check on anyone, and had to do a lot of praying and a lot of meditation, check in myself, and also looking after my family, and then checking on our local community there in our little neighborhood. We were able to walk around, so checking on our neighbors. But when we were able to get out, mainly keeping my supports in place, praying, meditation, and going to check on and talk to others. And what was really, this was hard, but also neat. We were experiencing this together. So we were able to connect in a way. It was kind of a special bond. So able to share that with others was.
For me, the best thing I did was get back to helping people right after the hurricane. My whole neighborhood was destroyed pretty much. I was one of the luckier ones. I had insurance and all that good stuff where a lot of the people didn't. And I worked in a good environment where my boss allowed me to take any time I needed to meet adjusters or meet local churches helping fix places. I consider myself lucky considering everything that happened. And it was a real humbling to me that I knew that I was going to be okay, but like the people I was helping, maybe not necessarily the same.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for that. Was there a specific moment during or after the storm that really stands out to you when you realize the impact that your support was making?
I think for me, it was that Saturday. It was, things were still crazy, but the sun come out was one of them. And with it not, we didn't have power in our building, but we had gas, so we were able to feed the community here in Burke County and make, the people that we had went and picked up and put in shelters, they were able to come eat a hot meal on that Saturday, even though they didn't have a place to go back to, and they were still going to be unsheltered or unhoused and then no power. But we fed the community, so I felt really good about that because I know everybody was going to sleep on with a full belly. So that was good.
I think for me, when I was finally able to get out, luckily I had some supplies already at the house. But when I was finally able to get out, we drove over to where our recovery center is to check on our people, and the smile and the warmth that people were excited that we came there. That's when, like, the moment that it hit me that would be an impact and that it was making a difference, just even at the beginning, not counting all the way through all the support. But that was that one moment where it kind of like lit up and made feel really good inside to see them smile when we pulled up.
I would say it took me a couple of weeks. I was in my own little world the first couple of weeks. But as soon as we started going to the emergency shelters and we're able to get a lot of people into different situations, whether it be like emergency housing or hotel room, or in some cases assisted living, that's when I really started noticing the change. And it was because of the participants, just the gratitude that was shown that we don't always get necessarily. It was just over the moon for them. So
Thank you guys so much. What did peer support look like in the immediate aftermath of Hurricane Helene? And how did you adapt your methods to reach people when normal systems were down?
I think peer support looked like the best thing in the world to me after the aftermath, because I think the community's seen a shift. We were the ones out there, boots on the ground, during all this, and providing support and providing help. And the respect that we started receiving back from the community made a huge difference. The respect that we started receiving back from the people that I work with that are unsheltered, it was an odd shift. But at the same time, we were the ones there with them, supporting them and trying to get them in hotels and trying to get them food and just trying to keep them safe. So I could tell a difference with the people that I was working with, and that felt good in my heart. And I still see that today. They know who we are. They know if they need support, they know they can come to the Hope Center and they're going to get it there. Um, and I don't know what normal is so anymore. They think it makes sense. I think that now we're still having to adapt. Since the hurricane, BUCM has had to move into another building, and we're still trying to get open. So I mean, it's taking a long time to get us up on our feet and get going without calls. Is where my issue is now, because we're still trying to support the community. Since April, we have been feeding outside every day. So we've never stopped providing food for the community or for the people that are unsheltered. And I don't see support from the city, but I see support from the community saying, okay, how can we support you now that you're unsheltered and after you done supported us? So I'm proud of the community.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what Karen said there. And I think like just immediate, the aftermath of what it looked like was, I felt like personally, I was out there everywhere, like trying just to see how I could support somebody. And it felt like between minutes and hours, like they were offering so much different type of support, trying to get some, to a hotel, shelters, just seeing what their need, or just sitting down and talking with somebody. There were so many different scenarios at that time. People lost homes, family members, animals, just there was so much going on. And I just feel, like a normal day, I kind of like have a routine, like this is going to happen, but then it was just so much different things going on. And everybody, I felt like so mmany people were coming together and here, and I don't know, it was a complete different version of what I had been doing as a peer support, like on just a day to day and minute to minute. So, and I still feel like today that, we're over a year now, I feel like there's been a lot of change in the environment here where people are still coming together and still trying to get pieces to kind of keep rebuilding.
I would say the immediate aftermath was us locating all the veterans at the veteran restoration quarters because it got destroyed. So there were hundreds of veterans displaced automatically. But what we did was, even though we didn't have cell phones necessarily here, we just all immediately went to emergency shelters and were able to locate them all. And within a few weeks, we had them back into another hotel that we've now purchased. But that was one of the immediate after effects. And the other was that as peer supports, I'm sure Josh and Karen will agree, we were doing that 24/7 for a couple months after the hurricane, whether it was family, friends, or participants. And I think that was super challenging mentally for a lot of us. I know I had a couple people that left because of that. They just couldn't handle it. But, God is good. So we just pushed on and we're in a lot better position now. So.
Thank you guys. I mean, that really is amazing just to show your resiliency and how you are able to just pivot quickly for your community. So next, can you share a story of how your lived experience helped you connect with someone who was struggling during that time?
So for me, which is still a little emotional for me, I had a young lady that I drove into the camp to get her. It was several females down in there, just trying to get them out so I can get them to a hotel. And I couldn't get her to come out of the camp. All I heard was shame and guilt. And when she was speaking to me, the reasons why she could not get in my vehicle for me to help her was all I heard was shame and guilt. So I had to stop for a minute and take a breath and shared some of my own personal stuff when I felt that shame and I felt that guilt that I didn't deserve to live. And so being able to share that and explain to her that we both are worthy of living. We both are worthy of something more than where you think you're at right now. Uh, and during that time, part of it is, she had sold herself. So then the embarrassment come along with that. And I said, I'm not judging you. I don't care. I don't care. I just need you to get in this vehicle so we can get someplace safe. And it took a minute to convince her just to get in there. Just to get, I said, I'm going to take you to a hotel where you can take a shower if we have power, or at least you can clean yourself up so you will feel better about yourself. And I don't want her to carry that shame with her while she's trying to get her own support. So having to share some of my story with her just to get her to safety.
Thank you for sharing that.
I think for me, I ran into someone that I haven't met before, and they had lost someone really close to them, and they were actually unhoused. So I just hadn't ran into them, but they lost someone really close to them, and they had survivor's guilt, and didn't know what to do, didn't know what steps, didn't know if they wanted to go on. So I shared a personal story of where, when I had lost my mother, and I was also unhoused here, and I shared that and just sat there and talked with them and let them know that, hey, you're here with us, you are somebody, and I see you, and just listened, and was able to finally, after sitting and talking, I've seen the mood change. Felt their presence different, and was actually able to connect them to some resources. And I actually get to still check on this person to today. And it's really meaningful because we shared that, used to live experience, shared that impactful connection moment. And now we still have that connection, which is a beautiful thing.
I after the hurricane had a participant the county over that I had before too when I was working at a shelter, and I was actually in treatment with I got better, but the hurricane caused him to have a return to use with alcohol, and somebody from that shelter called me and was like, "Hey, can you come talk to him?" He wasn't able to go back to the shelter yet because it got destroyed too by the hurricane, so he was in emergency settings, and he was very belligerent, and I gave him a day or two to talk to him, and I came back there and was like, "Hey, man, we've had a lot of lived experience together. This isn't for you. This doesn't have to be permanent like it has been in the past." And he was able to turn it around. He's housed now and everything. But it was our conversations we had that I feel like helped him the most. Him knowing that I was, the constant in his life when he was struggling. So
Thank you so much for that. We have a question in the Q&A for you guys. How do you provide self-care for yourselves? Which is so critical.
I do have a lot of faith. I have spend a lot of time in prayer and meditation. I have an amazing family that is my support, and I know I can pick up the phone. They are my rap plan most of the time, but I know if I need something, I can call them, even though they're 2.5 hours away from me. Come hell or high water, I know if I need something, I know in my heart they will be here for me. So, and then also I have my peers like Josh. I have people that are local here that I know I can reach out to, and that will also say, okay, let's what we doing? Let's get up here. So I appreciate that.
For me, like Karen, I have a really strong spiritual connection. I pray, I have faith, I meditate, I'm also physical. I love activities, run, workout, yoga. Top priorities for me is that. Also a really strong family, where I can sit and be completely honest and transparent at all times, which is really great. And also, I work for an organization who like prioritizes wellness, which is beautiful. I can call my direct supervisor, I can call the ED here, I can call our operations, I can talk to my coworker. It's a really good atmosphere where there's no judgment. We all have lived experience and understand, so it really keeps me and my wellness really well.
yeah, I agree with Josh. I work in a great environment. I know a lot of y'all know Benji. That's one of the most supportive bosses I've ever had in my life. Well, without him, I wouldn't be going where I'm going today. So I have that. And then I actually use my college for self care a lot because it's really grounding for me. to come back to God and learn more about him. So anytime I'm struggling, I can literally just take one of my classes that day and I'm good to go normally.
That's great. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Now that some time has passed, what are the ongoing emotional or mental health needs you're seeing in the community?
I think in our community, one of the needs that we need in our building. For some reason, we can't get a CO from the city to get in our building, even though we're supposed to be in June. And I think now with lifing and the government doing different things and food stamps going away and stuff like that, it's definitely showing that one, what we do here at the Hope Center and at BUCM, it's a necessity for this community. Our numbers have doubled the number of people we feed. Our numbers have doubled with the number of people that we serve that's unsheltered now. So I think the community needs to spend some more time together, realize that we made it through a hurricane, but we still need to collaborate and work together and grow together. And one of the ways to do that is eventually getting this building that we've been waiting for the last 6 months, which I hope November 13th, it will be in. That's the goal. That's the prayer.
I think for my community here in Asheville, there's still a lot of emotional and mental health going on with a lot of people lost their homes and places. And I know a lot of people got help, but like when the shelters and everything closed down, a lot of people still had no places to go. So like everyone trying to process that and figure out like their next steps. And you know, we had a lot of community like buy-in and support, but now that time's passed, there's still people helping, but there's also some that's kind of, you know, stepped back, got back a little complacent in life. So it's just a lot of, I don't which word, kind of, you know, a little depression, stress, maybe a little despair about their living situation. So just trying to sit and listen and be there for those that are still going through that.
I would say, like Josh is saying, depression's still an uptick here because of the hurricane. And it's not just because of the hurricane, it's everything that people have lost and they haven't been able to get back or haven't been able to move on from. There's still people out in Swannanoa there living in tents on their property, you know, not going to get no help. And I feel like that's caused underlying traumas from the hurricanes for people. So
Yeah, thank you guys for that. I can't imagine just that continued impact and how it's affecting folks in the western part of the state. How are you continuing to provide hope and encouragement to people as they rebuild?
Well, for us here, we still feed, we still do outreach. We collaborate with a lot of community partners, Catawba Behavioral Health, Alpha. They have vans to bring medical supplies if we need medical supplies. I work with the community paramedics so that if they will go, if I know somebody's in the camp somewhere and they can't get to me or I can't bring them out, they will at least support me with trying to get them whatever they need or even bring them out if they need to. And but still we feed. Feed is a thing for everybody. So we feed every day. We get to commune every day, at least connect every day by being able to feed and give people food. So it's a blessing.
Here during the day, we have a day a drop-in center where people could come, hang out, get connected to resources, receive one-on-one peer support. We do support groups. We're also connected with other programs who come and offer different support groups that's not like completely in our line of scope, but they come here. And then we also have a peer support with them organizations doing the support groups. We do outreach. Just always connecting people to resources, just mainly being available, whether it's to talk, connect to resources, we're here. And I know, you know, thinking back to my own self and my experiences, how meaningful that is just to have someone here who's going to understand.
Yeah, kind of going off of what Josh says. I mean, just peer supporting people in general. That's how we've helped the community around here, and helping get them reattached to housing, which is something that's been really stressful in Asheville because we already had a backed up list, and now we got a super backed up list. But just offering them a light at the end of the tunnel has been extremely helpful for a lot of people in the community.
Yeah, I know that housing was certainly an issue prior to Helene, and now it's just kind of compiled since then as well. And it's amazing just that you guys are able to continue some of those services. How have you seen the continuation of some of those services, like feeding individuals on a daily basis and things like that? How have you seen that impact in your community?
I think for us, it brings, so we're having to feed outside. So I think that's new because before we had a building where we could. And so until we get in our new building, we're outside. And I think for me and my peers that work with me, we have to connect, and so when the people come through and they're just grateful to have food to take home, it brings an automatic connection. It brings automatic hope. It brings hope just knowing that even though that we don't have this building, but people still keep showing up and we still get to feed somebody for the night. We still get to make sure that child has food or even clothes because we will give out clothes. People need something and I have it, it's theirs, plain and simple, because people have so less anymore. And we are blessed with, like I said, with some of the people in the community giving donations to help us. So it's not for me, it's for us as a community. And we make sure that we grow and build and love our community the best way we know how and that we can.
Josh and Will, did either of you have anything to add about kind of what you're doing and how that your community is responding since
Uh,
Helene?
yeah, I mean, just like I said, having resources, being able to help somebody with a need is always great. It opens up conversation, connection. I always getting feedback from our community and our participants and people of how meaningful it is to be able to have something, but not only get that, but also get the connection that goes with it. Being able to have that conversation, be able to get resources, having somebody that can advocate for them. We always get really good positive feedback for that.
Thank you so much.
That about sums it up, what he said. So
Thank you. What are some of the creative or new approaches you've taken to help your community regrow, not just physically, but emotionally and socially?
So one of the things we've done here, we have a group called Peers Partnering for Excellence, and it's part of actually some of the opioid team settlement. So with that, we've started our own peer support, which is regional. So we cover different Burke County, Catawba County, Caldwell, McDowell, and try to go as far as Asheville as we can reach people. So that's something new that's come along since this. And what we see is that it's allowing us as a group of peers to be able to reach more people in different communities, to be able to do more things for our community and in this county that I don't think we would have been able to do before. And also, I totally believe, I was thinking about the word peer support specialist. It needs to be like a symbol, a P on your chest, like a Superman, because it's the same thing. And they may not be an S for Superman, but it can be a P for peer support. And I think that should be a great symbol going forward because it does provide hope always.
Thank you, Karen. And just to follow up, was that called Peers for Excellence?
Peers Partnering for Excellence.
Partnering
so
for
it's
Excellence.
a whole lot of peer supports from all different places, all different walks. We meet together once, just for the peers on this call, on this thing. We meet the last Thursday of every month up here at 576 East Fleming Drive in Morganton. Everybody's welcome. The goal is to collaborate, and one of the things that we've started doing is working with other peers who work with providers that don't actually understand what peers are, how to support them with their employers. Because sometimes employers don't understand what a peer support is, but they want to have them go do their case management work, and that's not who we are all the time. Especially if you're running a recovery community center, it's night and day, night and day compared to being, so. But yeah, we try to provide support for all peer support specialists, and we invite all peer support specialists to please come join us. And we always have lunch, so.
Thank you, and thanks for sharing that resource.
I think some of the new creative ways that we have worked here in our area is we have partnered with a lot of other organizations who are doing different types of work, but we're all got the same goal. So we've created, it's called Street Team Outreach, where a bunch of us go out. There's peer supports, there is community health workers, there's all types of different people going out. And that way, like where we're going out, there's so much more different ways to offer support because each need is different. Just recognizing that it's made a real big impact, especially like a couple areas of our town that people were really going through some hard times. The feedback from the community that we're getting, that it's really working, which is really great. We've also started here. There's a house. The city runs a housing program, so we've kind of got into that to really advocate for people, just to be that voice for our peers, like trying to help get people housed or into a safe place. Also partnering with another organization. They have started a winter shelter, so we are, as peer supports, can kind of reach out to our peers and get them straight connected so they can be warm at night. And then while they're there, we can follow up to see what type of resources, what the need is. Just trying to think of different ways to really help our community.
I think one of the newer approaches I have now is using the hurricane to my advantage when I'm building a rapport. I'm able to, it's almost like an automatic rapport builder when you share that lived experience with somebody, and it's helped draw our participants closer to us instead of further away. That's one of the main things that we've got out of this is that we all went through it together, and let's all build together and start a new community.
Well, thank you guys for sharing, the ways in which you have been able to create different opportunities for your community and the partnerships that you've been able to maintain and expand on to support those affected. How has this experience changed you in the way that you view your work as a CPSS?
Like I said, I think it's a Superman job, Superwoman job, super people job. We do things that people don't know we do, honestly don't see that we do when it comes to recovery and helping people and giving people support. And I think now, since the hurricane, I think hopefully it's opened the eyes of some people to see who we are, what we do, and why we are important. So,
Yeah, I totally agree with what Karen said. I mean, it's so important. The work we do is so important. And I think since this experience from Helene, it just made me realize I always known how impactful peer supports is because peer supports are why I'm here today. But being able to live and go through this with the people we serve showed me how much more meaningful it is and how much we actually do and how much of an impact that we are. And it touched me, like being able to be there and see the smiles and being able to support people through the hard time while I'm also going through it with them. This shows how meaningful we are.
It changed my perspective in the view of like how hard everybody in Asheville that were peer supports were actually working. It just gave me a whole new respect for like what we do and how caring that the peer supports really are around here.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely shows how critical you guys are to the work. So thank you so much for that. I know that we have throughout the webinar had several folks that have joined us kind of intermittently throughout. And so was hoping that maybe each of you wouldn't mind just coming off mute and introducing where you are from and who you are with.
Karen Russell. I'm the director of the Hope Center, helping others persevere every day. I work up under Berkeley United Christian Ministries, which is in Morganton, North Carolina, the bottom side of the western part.
I'm Joshua Morrow. I am the Recovery Center Coordinator for Sunrise Community for Recovery and Wellness, certified peer support. We are located off Tunnel Road in Asheville.
I'm Will Dykes. I'm the team lead for Asheville, Charlotte, and a part of Raleigh for Veteran Services of the Carolinas.
Thank you guys so much. Okay, so lastly, if you could tell your community one message about resilience and recovery, what would it be?
I think I would share that hope is real, and it may all we need is a spark of it to get us going, and that as we've always known and as we always say, we do recover, and it's a whole lot better recovering as a community than just trying to do it on your own. So we're here for that.
Yeah, I'll second that. It's all about inspiring hope. Recovery is always possible, and each person's recovery is different, but recovery is always possible.
Yeah, it's all about the community and how we came together. United we stand, divided we fall, and everybody came together and we grew a lot.
Wow, each of you, that was so impactful. So thank you so much for that. There definitely is hope, and I appreciate, you're right. It's just a spark. That's all that we need. So I think before we transition to the question and answers, I think there was one more that we wanted to address. For the peers thinking of preparedness, is there any local governments that can do to improve coordination and ensure that peers are able to reach the most in need?
Can you repeat
And how
the
can
question,
we,
please?
sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm reading from a thing over here. For peers that are thinking of preparedness, is there any local governments that can help improve the coordination and ensure that peers are able to reach the most in need? And how can we make this planned in an event for a future disaster?
I think all local governments can do something to help peer supports to be more prepared and to be in need, even if it's financially, physically showing up, volunteering. There's a lot the local government can do to support their community with peer support specialists. They just got to want to.
Yeah, I'll second that. I think peer supports, we're such a meaningful thing in our community. And I think that there can always be more support financially, more support, putting peers out there more. I see a lot of times that peers aren't hired in certain places, like making sure peer supports are always where they need to be, because our stories, our lived experience, what we've went through makes an impact on others. We've been able to reach and connect with people that other other governments or organizations or other people can't. So just having peer supports in places where they need to be.
Yeah, I agree. All local governments across the state could do more. And you can just look at the amount of peer support jobs there are in the state to prove that. So
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. So I think at this point, I am going to turn it over to Olivia Mudd, who is going to do the question and answer portion.
Thanks, Fatina. Hi, everybody. I'm Olivia Mudd. I am the program coordinator for the peer support specialist program within the state. So I think we're just going to go ahead and jump into the Q&A. We have a few questions sent in. I guess my first question is going to be sent in from Leslie. She wants to know, how do you all set boundaries with those whom you work with? And this is for anybody in the panel.
It depends on the
You,
person.
you set your boundaries, period. I mean, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. You have to set boundaries, because self-care is important, and self-care is part of a boundary. And in order to keep your self-care and your mental health and everything under control, you have to have boundaries. There's no choice.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I'm always transparent and upfront about my boundaries. I'll just use this for an example. If I get off at a certain time, that's my time with my family and my self-care time. And I always hold that back. This is one example, but always just being transparent about that.
Yeah, I do the same thing Josh does. After a certain time, if I'm off, I'm off. I'm not. You got to turn it off for 8 hours a day too. You can't just do it all the time.
No, I will share this also. I work with a lot of people and providers, different people in peers and roles and different providers. And one of the things that I notice is that, one, not all providers are the same. They have different rules for how they treat their peers. And even when I've seen that your hours are from 7:30 to 7:30, I don't understand that. And so I suggested to the peer who come to me, like, I don't have time with my son. My thing is, I need you to talk to your supervisor about that. And that's why we have the PPE, because you can role play with us all day long on how to have that conversation with somebody, with your supervisor, or even with one of your peers that you're working with. If you're having trouble setting those boundaries, let us coach you, let us help you. And that's why we have what we have.
I agree with her. The number one way peers burn out is they don't tell nobody, so nobody knows until it's way too late. That's one thing that I wish I could change, but you can't change how a person thinks. So
No, absolutely. And of course, like in the midst of you all trying to help other people, again, and being a peer support, you're also reminding that you're still going through your own journey as well with helping others. So that's very important, learning how to set those boundaries. Like, okay, I'm here to help you, but also I have to remember I have to help myself as well throughout the process. So that was a really good question and good answers, you guys. Um, we have another question sent in saying, regarding veterans that suffer from PTSD and relate medical issues, usually along with SUD and alcohol issue, what type, if any, peer-to-peer support space is available currently in your area? If you guys are aware of any.
is this for an unhoused person?
It's not specified currently, but
Unhoused veterans are what we specialize in.
mhm.
Um, we try to help people that are housed, but it's hard for us to get that because of our grants. Um, I know, Karen, you do something with that, don't you?
So one of the contacts I have here is Western Piedmont Council of Government. They are usually our housing specialists around here. I work inside of HMIS, which is the Homeless Management Interagency. So for a lot of people that are unsheltered or unhoused, we try to get their information so we can try to support them. And once we get them inside of our system, then if they're a veteran, then that's the direction we're going to go with, trying to work with another veteran to get them in. If it's a single parent, same thing. So there's with Western Piedmont Council of Government, they have different funds that support different things. So they're usually one of my resources that I will go to try to get support.
And for us, we don't have a veteran services, but when I run across vets, I will either send them actually over to Will and his team, or I reach out to Greg at the not Greg, I mean Howard at the VA, and him and another guy, Jerry, have a really good connection there. Usually they can get veterans to where they need to go and get connected to services there.
That's awesome. And I think also too that, especially what you just mentioned, Joshua, sorry. Um, but it shows the importance of also networking while being in the peer support space. Because maybe where I work at or where your area might not specifically target a different individual who with their lived experience, but you know somebody else that does provide that. So again, like you said, you'll reach out to Will if that's something, because that's just not what you all specialize in. So that's really good about the importance of also networking in the peer space as well. We have another question. Um, what what do you think about the phone support like 988? If you have reached out to them, do you think a resource like this can provide good support for individuals?
So I believe the 988 and the connections group that the state has, I think it's a resource. And I think if somebody needs to talk to someone, it is an amazing resource. It's a resource that's needed. Sometimes people won't talk to people they know, but they'll talk to a stranger. I work with a therapy dog, and I have people talk to my dog all the time. They'll talk to Hope before they'll speak to me. So it's almost like picking up the phone, calling 988, saying, "Okay, I just need to get this off. I just need a listening ear," and that's what peers do best. So
And I totally agree with Karen there. Karen, I love Hope as well. I can easily talk to Hope anytime. But definitely, we actually refer people. We have a phone where people can call or drop in, and some people don't want to come in person, so they can call our drop-in phone, and we can offer one-on-one peer support. If whatever service or thing they need at that time is not what they need, we will connect them to that 988 or to other resources, depending on what that person's need is.
Yeah, I think it's a great source. We're actually able to use a clinician when we're doing enrollments or just for anybody in general if they're having those kind of tendencies going on. So we're able to have a direct call with somebody and make sure that they're going to be okay before they go. But if that's not there, 988 is. So
Absolutely. Knowing, like, of course, it's always great to have the resources, but also knowing that you have somebody there that's willing to help. And I think that's one of the biggest things. Someone that's willing to help is always just good to know. And it makes the person feel good. Because I know if that would make me feel good, just knowing somebody's there just on a regular basis in the time of need, 10 times better, you know? Okay, this is a really good question. What are the first steps to be a peer support?
is this a legit question? Like you have to have 18 months in recovery, you have to do this, or is it before that part?
Let's say, okay, well, no, I won't say we all know. So I do know that when individuals do want to become peer support specialists, you do have to be within 18 months of recovery. And then also, like mentioned before, we do have to take the course online, especially now. So after those two steps, what have you all done after the fact as far as going forward within your journey?
So after you take foundation A, track A, you go into track B, which brings you into a trainer where you can sit in class, a 40-hour class, and kind of get your kind of like your hands-on, a lot of activities involved. So you can see kind of what the role is going to be like, as a peer support with the training inside there. More than anything, you have to know that you're ready. You have to know that this is what I want to do, and hopefully you figure it out before you get to come sit in class if this is not what you want to do. So
I agree.
yeah.
You also need to understand that you're probably not going to work inside the box you think you are. I remember sitting beside Josh and being like, I'll probably just do rehabs and stuff. I don't think I'll work with the unhoused. It's not for me. And here I am. So
Yeah,
One thing
I agree with Karen and Will on that. Just uh, yeah, after the class, get in, and for me, it was seeing where I fit in and what area I wanted to work in. I started in a clinical setting, and then now I work in a all peer support ran organization. So just seeing what works and where my lived experience and my journey can make the most impact.
I would encourage anybody who wants to be a peer to either visit a RCC, no matter where you're at, or to at least go hang out and, maybe intern or volunteer someplace that you can see what that role looks like there. Because there's so many different diverse roles for peer support specialists, and that's what makes it amazing. There's a fit for every shoe, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. You guys answered that great, by the way. So we have another question. As we reflect on the impact of Hurricane Helene, I'd love to hear your vision for preparedness, specifically within the Hispanic and Latino communities. What strategies do you see as most effective for supporting their mental health needs, both in the immediate aftermath of crisis and in building long-term resilience?
I would encourage the Hispanic Latino community to step forward at a RCC where they know they can get some services that, not that I have all the services, but I have the resources, and to attend some classes and to become peer supports and to raise yourself up so you can raise your community up. And the one way to do that is to become, a trained peer support specialist so they can see who you are. So please come to a class.
I agree with Karen there. We have here in Asheville, Buncombe, we have a couple organizations who are doing amazing work, like Pod A, they're connected with Unite. But for them to get some peer supports and really get involved, get the drop-in centers, something in that nature would be amazing because, yeah, what that one particular organization I'm thinking of, Pod A, they do such great work, but just to expand that and get some peer supports there would be great for the community.
We have a peer that does speak Spanish fluently, and one of the issues we're having is everything that's going on politically right now. They're nervous to give out any kind of identification or social security numbers, anything like that, just in fear. So I would encourage them to understand that when you see a nonprofit, we're not going to tell on you. We're not going to do anything like that. We just want to help. So
I think they also need to understand what an ally is. I mean, even we are also your ally, your peer, your ally, and our job. We're going to support no matter what the government wants to do. We're here for you. We're here for we are a community.
Absolutely. And especially like mentioned, especially in today's time with everything going on, I can definitely understand the fear of not knowing if this is a safe space for me. I do have the heart that wants to help, but I don't know if this is even a safe space for not only me, but maybe someone that they're there to support on the journey. So I definitely understand and hoping for better days. Okay, this is a really good question. For those on the panel recently becoming a certified peer support specialist, I love to say the whole name out loud. With the heart of service, what was your role in the community prior to your roles now?
I actually worked at a treatment center as a cook before I did this.
I think I've just always been a peer without the label. I've worked in mental health. I worked in hospice. There's different roles that all fall in line as a peer support specialist. So, like I said, it's always been a peer without the title until now, till 2015 when I got certified.
I worked as a prep cook as I was in my halfway house and working on my certifications and trying to see which direction I went. And then once I got my certification, I came into peer support. And as I said earlier, I started in a clinical setting and then switched over to an all peer ran organization.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, so we have another question. Sometimes peer support specialists are hired directly by organizations that want a peer to support their program. Other times, organizations will contract with a peer-led agency that hires a lot of peers so they can work with the program. but they don't have to directly supervise them. I can see the benefits to both. What model do you prefer? And if you need me to say that again, I can.
I fall under the second model where we're not directly seen all the time. We do outreach and we make our own schedules, but we're also expected to work certain hours of the day. I've worked in the other setting before, and I wasn't too keen on it because it felt like micromanaging. So for me, I like what I do now, where I'm not having somebody breathe down my neck, if that makes sense.
I agree with that, Will. I think with the Recovery Community Center, it's like, so I have peers that I supervise, but it's very much like, they make their schedule because they know who their people are. They know who they need to see. They know when they need to meet with these people. And I just need to know my people are safe and that they're doing, that's my goal, is to supervise them, make sure they're staying in their roles of where we're at, not to step outside of our bounds, and to be safe no matter what. Because we do a lot of outreach. We're out in the woods sometimes, so but I need to trust them, and I do trust them, so I give them the rein to be able to do their job in the way it needs to be done. So.
As for me, I have people I supervise, and I actually have a supervisor. But I think the way, kind of the model we do here, like you can set your schedule, you can, fall and do the work that you need to do. But our supervision, we don't really like breathe down the necks, but we have conversations, make sure boundaries, make sure everything is being implemented. And we take more of kind of like a coaching approach to our supervision, so that people don't feel like we're breathing down their neck. It's more like peer supporting our staff and having a conversation and seeing what areas, if somebody needs support, we can support them in that.
No, I definitely understand that, and I can definitely agree with you all when it comes to not having the micromanaging area, because it kind of lets you know that I know how to follow the guidelines, I know how to stay within our range, but you're giving me the space to be myself and literally be able to share my lived experience, to others. Okay, so then we have one last question, then we're going to kind of wrap things up. This is kind of like a couple part question. So I'm gonna in sections and layers. Is there an hourly salary? Hourly salary, that's a new word for me. Is there an hourly salary, or what is the pay like? That's part one of the question. Do they assign you someone to help, or does it work for someone that that you would like to help, or do we get the person on the list that needs help?
So that depend. Both those questions depend on where you work. We have a referral system we use, but we also go out and find our own people. But the money thing just depends on where you work, what kind of benefits you're looking at through the company, just like any other job. Like there's a lot of different variables. There's also state jobs through peer support, not a lot, but where you get the ultimate benefits and you get really good money. But to say it's a poor paying job would be false. I don't really think there's that many like bad paying peer support jobs anymore. It just depends on what you're willing to do and what you're willing to who you're willing to work for.
He said that perfect.
Absolutely. Okay, so since we are getting close to wrapping up the Q&A section, I did want to ask you all on the panel, is there anything that we haven't covered today that you guys really want to make sure you were able to get out to the public and get out to everyone that's here listening on today?
I just wanted to share one thing on that second question about working with people. Like, well, when we don't do a referral process, but people come through our doors, and we allow, like, you don't have to work with somebody that ever makes you feel like uncomfortable or anything like that. If you feel, and vice versa, like sometimes vibes go off. So we always make sure that both the staff supporting and the participant both feel safe and both feel comfortable in that peer relationship.
Absolutely. That's important as well. Just making sure that everyone's comfortable. Um, Gosh, that's super important because you're not going to be able to get effective communication, effective work done, and ultimately the end goal without there being a sense of safetyness or a comfortability within the relationship from the peer and the peer support. But also I did want to go to each and every one of you on the panel. Just get any last words of wisdom or anything you just want to leave today and let everybody know from your heart.
I don't know if it's words of wisdom, but we do recover. We have to stick together as a community, no matter where we're at in this state, because it takes a village. And as we can tell, we used to be a village that had a bunch of house people. Now we have without trauma, and now we've all gone through a collective trauma, especially on this end, on the western end, that I think has made our hearts big, made our hearts sad, but helped it grow. And as I see us continue to grow, I think we need to know that we have each other's back. I don't care if I'm here, I don't care if it's in Asheville. I know that I can reach out to that area to get support, just like they know they can reach out here to get support. And we're all in this together.
Absolutely. Like High School Musical said, we're all in this together.
Yeah, that's really well said, Karen. And it's so true. We're all in this together. Just emphasize we all, recovery is always possible. No matter which path or which way we want to go, recovery is always possible and always here to support each other.
Yeah, I'd just say if you work together, you can achieve big things. You work apart, nothing ever is going to work. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. This was super amazing. Again, we want to say thank you to everybody on the panel, Karen, Joshua, and Will. Thank you guys so much for just giving your words of wisdom, your experience, and then also just letting other people know that what it's like to be peer supports. And so we can get some more peer supports because there are lots of people out here that have lived experience that could help somebody change their life as well. But enough from me. I'm going to turn it on over back to Dina.
Thank you, Olivia. If we did not get an opportunity to answer your question during the webinar, questions and feedback are welcome at bhidd.helpcenter@dhhs.nc.gov. The recording and presentation slides for today's event will be posted on our Community Engagement and Training webpage. For more information and resources, stay connected with DMH DDSUS by attending our monthly side-by-side webinars and joining our mailing list. The links are included in the chat. There will be a brief survey following today's webinar, and we would appreciate your time completing it. This concludes our webinar for today. Thank you for attending.